Hang on, don't adjust your watch. It is 10:30. It is P2P Live. We've shifted from 12:30 on Friday simply because we've got a very important webinar today on getting a job in Queensland, which is running at 12:30. So we thought we'd go early with P2P Live today. Hi there, my name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People to People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. And there's a lot of time changes today, and of course on the weekend with daylight saving as well. So there's a lot happening. Today, though, we'll talk through our numbers. There's the internet vacancy numbers for August, which I'd like to talk through. There's an interesting story that seems to be being revealed from those numbers, so stay tuned for that. We've also got a bit of a teaser about this webinar for getting a job in Queensland with Ben Wheeler, the director of our Brisbane office. So he'll be telling us more about that. We got 3 jobs that we need to fill today. And of course, we've got the results of last week's Twitter poll. So much to get through. Let's get started with the numbers. So the Internet Vacancy Index is released every month by the Australian Bureau of Statistics. And the August numbers came out within the last week. And they start to show an interesting trend. So what we have here on the screen is the numbers from January 22 to August 22. And it looks like a little bit of a flat line, but you can see that the scale on the left-hand side is 250,000 advertisements, seasonally adjusted. And it grows January, February, March, April, peaks in June, dips in July, and it's come up to be slightly better in August. So essentially what's happening is that we seem to have peaked in terms of the number of vacancies that are being listed on the internet. If you watch P2P Live regularly, you would have noticed that the week before last, I would have shown a very interesting statistic which showed that the number of vacancies were exceeding the number of unemployed persons for the very first time. And so which says how the strength of the market. But I think with everything that's going on now, we're starting to see this trend of the market peaking and flattening out. So the actual change month on month was an increase of 7,700 advertisements, or 2.6%. Let's see a sort of a greater trend over the last 10 years. If you go to the next one. So this here shows you the seasonally adjusted and trend over the last 10 years and gives you a much better picture of what we've been experiencing since the pandemic of March 2020. So prior to March 2020, when we saw the collapse and the people lined up outside of the government employment offices, the market had peaked in 2018, but never had reached the heights of the pre-GFC numbers back in 2008. There was the increase up until the mining boom, then 11, 12, steady increase. And our experience of People to People was at the top of the market was around that September quarter in 2018 from the number of vacancies. Slowly, though, it started to decline, and then the collapse with the pandemic. But it's extraordinary, the recovery. And in my 25 years in recruitment, I've never seen a recovery in the jobs market that we have seen from the depths of March 2020 through to April 2022. And you can see that steep climb over the last couple of years. The last 3 or 4 months, which we've just seen on screen, though, is the top of that curve at the end. And it's very interesting to see that flattening out of the curve. What does it mean for us? We'll have to see over the next little while, but my expectation is that we have peaked. Let's have a look then at a state-by-state basis. And I thought I would highlight here Queensland, because we're going to have a chat to Ben from our Queensland office. And this is the change month on month and year on year for each of the different states. And let's take a quick look year on year. Tasmania up 56%, New South Wales up 50%, then followed by Queensland, Victoria. The percentage change from pre-COVID levels, which I think are extraordinary. You can see Tasmania 154% increase over pre-COVID, South Australia 102, Western Australia 105, Queensland 95%. But what is the market like in Queensland now? Stay tuned for a teaser on this webinar. And if you're a job seeker and you're seriously considering a move interstate across the border, then you should stay tuned for that and sign up for that particular webinar. That's it for the numbers. Let's move on, because we've got 3 jobs that we need to fill today. It's Fill Job Friday. So the first position we have here is in West Footscray in Victoria. It's paying $41 an hour. It's a 6-month initial commitment for this account manager's position, where you'll be responsible for the development of overall a store business plan for a retail environment, where you will be conducting individual business reviews with business owners and identifying sales opportunity. Previous knowledge in this area is required. Chelsea is the contact that you need to get in touch with in our Melbourne team, 03 9098 7422. You can also apply online in the comments here. You'll see a link to each of these vacancies that we're mentioning. Apply now. You could start on Monday. Of course, we can also, if you have any questions, we can see all of your comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube in real time. So if you have any questions, then please let me know and we can answer them. Here's the next job to start on Monday. It's a sales administrator in Milton in Queensland. It's paying $32 to $34 an hour, reporting through to the senior sales manager. It's a 3-month contract, start on Monday, where you'll be responsible for the contributing to the efficient day-to-day operations of the sales department. If you're interested in this role, Melanie Hammond is the consultant, I should say, in our Queensland team, 07 3118 0125. You can jump on the phone now and find out more, or reply in the comments. And the last one for today is a production machine operator in Campbelltown in Western Sydney. Go Parramatta. I'm really just not fond of the Penrith Panthers. Please don't hold that against me. But you can get working after the grand final on Monday as Tuesday in New South Wales, production machine operator in Campbelltown. These roles will have you working across the production and manufacturing of different types of tablets, powders, capsules, and liquids. So previous experience in a similar environment, that is pharmaceuticals, would be greatly appreciated. Peter Altamore in our Parramatta team is the person you need to speak to, 8270-9781. You can get in touch with him. Now, of course, if you are on a bus and you're thinking, well, how do I apply for these jobs right now? I'm driving. What do I need to do? I'm on a bus. I don't have my CV with me. You can apply with Vply. Vply is a video application process. The link that we provide for Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube is for Vply. You can apply straight away for any of these positions and get started on Monday. Okay, all right. Now, we need to have a chat to Ben about this webinar and the Queensland market. But to get us there, this time of year, there's a lot of working holiday makers who are starting to arrive into Australia. So we have a quick video from Sarah Canning in our Sydney team about working holidays in Australia and New Zealand. If you want to run the video, thanks, Jacob.
We currently have a number of temporary positions in the business support space available. If you're new to Australia and on a working holiday visa, People2People would love to help you secure your first new position in Australia. We have roles that range from 1-day covers to 12-month contracts. Please reach out to me on the details below if you're new to Australia and looking for work.
Ben Wheeler.
Morning.
Good morning. We're just speaking both at the same time. How's life in beautiful Queensland?
Well, beautiful sunny day today, and looking forward to our webinar. So I'll be covering the state of the employment market here in Queensland. We'll have some tips on applying to a role, tips on preparing for an interview, and lastly, talking about the actual resignation and handling a counter offer, which is quite likely in the current environment. And at the end, we're going to have an interactive Q&A. So please join us. Look forward to seeing everybody there. And as a bit of a teaser, I know you'll like this one, Mark, but talking about migration, as a stat, so with international overseas migration, you're 4 times more likely for overseas migrants to go to New South Wales. And then for Queensland, for interstate migration, 5 times more likely to go to Queensland than anywhere else in Australia for interstate. So an interesting stat that overseas migrants go to New South Wales, and then for Queensland interstate come to Queensland 5 times. So be interesting to talk through.
Well, I mean, and we did a similar webinar yesterday for WA, and we had a lot of interest from East Coast wanting to go over to WA, but the stats never lie, and the reality is that most interstate migration is to Queensland. Why do you think that is, by the way?
I think that people are looking to get out of perhaps the big cities. So it's not all to Brisbane, it's not all to cities. So we're seeing Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast. And I think the prevalence of being able to work from home, a lot more flexibility, means that people are actually able to keep their job, whether they were working in the city in Sydney, and now they can move to, say, the likes of Sunshine Coast and purchase a house that, yes, the housing market is definitely on some significant upward pressure, but compared to, say, living in Sydney, it's quite different. So it's quite appealing for people to move interstate.
Now, I know you're going to talk about the market in Queensland with the webinar today, but you've just seen my internet vacancy index. It seems like it's peaking. How would you describe the market in Queensland right now?
I would say it's incredibly buoyant. Whether or not it's the peak, I guess that's always a difficult question to answer, but we are not seeing a slowdown. It's definitely still consistent. It's a very tight labour market. Yes, there are the moves of people interstate, but that isn't to the extent that it's actually creating an overflow of candidates. There's still a significant shortage, and as an employer, you're still having to work very hard to attract candidates and make sure you make all the right moves to secure a good person.
Great, fantastic. All right, well, I'm looking forward to the webinar today, 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Daylight saving doesn't change until the weekend.
Not yet.
So if you're interested in that, then please register. We'll put a link into the comments there where you can register for today's webinar as well. Thanks, Ben. We'll see you at 12:30. Great. Okay, so I can just see that Tumpel on Facebook has said, hi, P2P, I've got accounting experience. Please kindly advise what opportunities is best suited for me for working holiday visa. So, Tumpel, if you are looking for advice, it depends on which city. So I'd encourage you to jump online, and you can quickly fill out a quick form there and say, hey, I'm looking for work in Sydney for accounting, for example. Then we can pop you onto the right consultant and look at your background and see if we can get you some work starting ASAP. There's the website there, people2people.com.au. Now, before we jump into the Twitter poll, I just want a quick shout out for Oz Top Dog. It's oztopdog.com.au. That's our annual competition to find out the Australian top office dog or top dog with a job. And there's also a People's Choice. So I'd encourage everybody, please, to go to oztopdog.com. I can never say that correctly. .com.au and please vote for your People's Choice winner for top office dog. There are some magic stories. We did the judging for office dog and the top dog with a job yesterday, and there's simply amazing stories. But we need your People's Choice. Jump online there, and thanks to Petstock and Drontal for your support with this campaign as well. Okay, let's now have a look at last week's Twitter poll, where we were saying, if you were a job seeker in 2022, have you asked for a pay rise, more employee benefits, a higher bonus, or something else? And not surprisingly, given the inflation that we're looking at here at the moment, that 56% of respondents said, yeah, I've asked for a pay rise this year, and we're certainly starting to see some of that flow through to the statistics on wages. Still not at the same level as inflation, but it's interesting that a lot of people are looking for a pay rise. More employee benefits, 18%, a higher bonus, only 7%, and other. But no surprises in that one. Here's this week's poll. And this week's poll is, could you get a full-time job in a 4-day work week? Yeah, I could. No, I need the full 5 days to do my job. It depends on the week or other. So what we're really trying to say there is that there is a push to 4-day working week. Can you do the job that you do in 5 days in 4 days? Jump online, vote at People2People or on our LinkedIn and tell us what you actually think. So, all right, that's it, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us on a Friday for P2P Live. We'll be back at our regular time at 12:30 next week. Sign up for the webinar for Queensland and enjoy the long weekend if you're having one this weekend. And go the Parramatta Eels. We'll see you next week.